Maimonides' teachings, we are learning the laws of idolatry. Now we're getting into something very interesting. Okay, chapter 4. Those who lead the inhabitants of a Jewish city astray are executed by stoning, even though they themselves do not worship a false deity, but merely proselytize to the inhabitants of their city until they worshipped it. And the inhabitants of the city that has been led astray, Iranidachs, are executed by decapitation if their worship of a false deity or accepted it as a god. What is the source that serves as a warning against proselytizing on behalf of a false deity? Let not the name of another deity be heard through their mouth. Okay, so we have two things here. We have those who affect the city, right? Even though they themselves didn't do any service idolatry, they themselves are stoned, right? And then we have the city itself. Now, that's where we're going. The city is not condemned as Ir Nidachas, right? Until the people led astray come from its inhabitants and are members of that tribe. I think the Talmud says that this law actually never occurred, right? Because there's, as we will see, there's like a city is destroyed and the people are destroyed. So they all have to come from the inhabitants of the city, members of that tribe. As it states, unfaithful people have emerged from the midst and have led astray the inhabitants of their city. Nor is it a city condemned as an Ir Nidachas until two or more members lead the inhabitants astray. As the verse says, unfaithful men have emerged and have led astray the inhabitants of the city. So you need two or more men that are leading astray. If it's one, right? No. Nor is the city condemned as an Ir Nidachas until two or more led astray. As it states, unfaithful men have emerged. Okay, those led astray must be the majority of the city inhabitants. They must number at least 100 to the majority of the tribe. So if there's 1,000 people in that town, right, that's that town, that city, then 501 have to be led astray for this law to take place. If, however, the majority of the tribe is led astray, they are judged as, however, the majority of the tribe is led astray. I missed something here. Those led astray must be the majority of the city's inhabitants. They must number at least 100 to the majority of the tribe. If, however, the majority of the tribe is led astray, they are judged as individuals and implied by the following verse. The inhabitants of the city, neither a small village nor a large metropolis. If there are fewer than 100, it's considered a small village. If the majority of the tribe is involved, it's considered a large metropolis. Similarly, the laws applied to the Ir Nidachas are not enforced if the people who are led astray were women or minors. They were led astray by a single individual. A minority of the city were led astray. Right? All in these instances, this law would not apply. They turn to idols on their own initiative, rather than being led astray. Or if those who led them astray came from outside the city, rather than being from the city. That's why, very unlikely that this law has ever occurred. It says violators are considered to be individuals who worship false deities. All those who worship are executed by stoning, and the estate is given to their heirs like all others executed by the court. So different by the Ir Nidachas is that um, the cities and the possessions of the person gets destroyed. As opposed to if it's an individual who did idolatry, their possessions go to their heirs, right? We're talking about Jewish people here only, right? A non-Jew can't serve idolatry either, but this law doesn't apply to non-Jews, it only applies to Jews. Okay. The law of Ir Nidachs, enforced only by a court of 71 judges, and applied by the virgin, shall take the man or woman who did the wicked thing to your gates. This is interpreted to mean individuals are executed by the courts, which are found by the gates of every city. The multitude are only executed by the Supreme Court, the Sanhedrin. None of the city's virgins can ever be condemned as a Ir Nidachas. Right, cities of refuge were, where someone who accidentally killed somebody and it lives. So cities they cannot be. Similarly, Jerusalem can never be condemned as Ir Nidachas because it is not divided among the tribes. Like it has to be from a tribe. So the Jerusalem is not given to a tribe, and the city of refuge it doesn't belong to a tribe, right? I mean, it belongs to it doesn't belong to a tribe. So a border city is never condemned as Ir Nidachas, for the Gentiles will not enter and destroy Eretz Yisrael. Right, so border cities we also have to protect, because then non-Jews, well, if it's a destroyed city, then non-Jews can come in and conquer the land. One court should not condemn three cities located next to each other as an Ir Nidachas. If the cities are separated from each other, they may condemn them. Okay. Just wanted to do something here because I gotta run. All right, folks, thank you.